Have you ever stopped to think that a frog is basically a fish that decided that the water was very mainstream? So it is. And the crazy thing is that this is literally what happened. So today, I will blow up your mind showing how Charles Darwin explained this whole crazy and using frogs as our protagonists. Seriously, after this video, you will never look at a frog the same way. And if you think evolution is that boring biology book, stop. My friend, you're very wrong. Come with me that I will show you that nature is more creative than Netflix screenwriter. Just imagine, 400 million years ago, there was no frog on planet Earth. Zero, nothing, not even a coxie disturbing the silence of the night. But then, something extraordinary happened. And no, it wasn't magical. It was much more impressive. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a fish. But it wasn't any fish, no. It was a half-rebellious fish, you know? While his friends were good swimming around, this guy looked at the riverbank and thought, man, what if? And that's how the largest revolution in natural history began. Because you see, the Earth was going through some very crazy changes at that time. Lakes drying, rivers disappearing. And our friends' fish? Well, they had two options. Either they died or they adapted. And that's where our dear Charles Darwin comes in. Calm down, calm. I know you might be thinking, here comes biology text. But you stand there. Darwin was basically a 19th century nerd that traveled the whole world on a boat. Imagine nausea. Just to understand why the animals are the way they are. And do you know what he found out? That nature is like a brutal reality show. Everyone competing to survive, and only the most adapted go to the next phase. But it's not brute force, see? It's adaptation. It is being smart. Returning to our rebel fish, imagine the scene. The lake is drying, the food is running out, and suddenly a goldfish is born with a little biter fins. Silly thing, right? Wrong. This face could drag itself a little in the mud when the water lowered. As his cousins died, he survived. And guess what? This four-toe fish had puppies, and some of these puppies were born with even stronger fins. Generation after generation, a million years after million years. And charam, what was fin turned? Paw. But wait, you must be thinking, this is very crazy. And it really is. But that's exactly how evolution works. Small changes, for a long time, creating amazing things. And the frogs? Frogs are the perfect example of this, because they are like the middle ground between fish and terrestrial animal. They still need the water to reproduce. Have you seen Tidy? It's literally a goldfish. But then it develops paws, loses its tail, and becomes a frog. Dude, it's like nature had recorded a replay of evolution and show us every time a frog is born. Amazing, right? Now let me tell you a secret. Darwin didn't know DNA. I had no powerful microscope. There was nothing we have today. The guy deduced all this just watching. He looked at the tentillions, some birds, and thought, why is its beak different from that? And the answer? Food, my friend. It is always about food. The bird with a thin chickman ate insects. The thick nozzle broke seeds. And who had the wrong beak to the type of food available? Hungry died. It's the same with the frogs. Do you know why there is a frog anyway? Fat, lean, colorful, camouflaged, poisonous, harmless? Because each one adapted to his corner of the world. There are frog who lives in the desert. Desert, an animal that we associate with water, living where there is no water. As he buries and stays there, good, waiting to rain. Sometimes it is buried years. When it rains, he runs, eats everything he sees ahead, finds a girlfriend, and bury again. There are frog that freezes in winter, literally becomes a frog popsicle. The heart stops beating, the blood freezes, and in the spring he thaws and jumps like nothing happened. If this is not evolution being creative, I don't know what it is. And look how crazy. There's a frog in Australia that developed a bizarre way to protect the puppies. The female swallows the eggs. That's right, and they develop in her stomach. She stops producing gastric acid so as not to digest her own children, and after a few weeks, she vomits frogs. Darwin freaked out with these things, because each adaptation of these is a response to a problem. Predators eating your eggs? Swallow them. Too dry environment? Learn to bury yourself. Harsh winter. Views popsicle. Now hold this one. Evolution has no purpose. There is no plan. The frogs did not decide evolve. It was that millions of different frogs were born, and only those who happened to have the right characteristics for the environment survived. It's like playing data millions of times. From time to time comes the number you need. But in the case of evolution, who takes the wrong number? Dies. Heavy, right? But that's how it works. And do you know what is crazy? This is happening now. Right now. The evolution did not stop. There are frogs evolving right away to adapt to the changes we are causing on the planet. There are urban frog who has learned to croak higher to compete with the noise of cars. There are frog that is developing resistance to pollution. It is the evolution happening in front of us. By the way, speaking of evolution happening, if you find this video as interesting as I think, evolve your little finger to the like button. Seriously, it's a small gesture, but for me it makes a giant difference. It's like YouTube's natural selection. The most likely videos survive and appear for more people. And since we are talking about survival, subscribe to the channel, because just as frogs need to adapt so as not to disappear, I need subscribers to continue bringing you cool content. Tighten the bell also, so as not to lose the next videos. But coming back to our jumping friends, did you know that there is a frog that is smaller than your nail, and another that is larger than a plate of food? How can such different animals be all frogs? That's where Darwin gives another show. He realized that all living beings are connected, like a giant genealogical tree. All frogs have a common ancestor, but each lineage went to a different side. It is as if it caught a family and spread around the world. After thousands of generations, the descendants would be super different. Some high, some low, some adapted to the cold, some to the heat. But everyone would still be family. With the frogs is the same thing. The Amazonian frog and the frog of your window are very distant cousins. Type. Millions of years away. And Darwin discovered it without DNA. No paternity test, nothing. Just watching and thinking. The guy was a genius. But do you know what Darwin couldn't explain? How the characteristics went from father to son. He knew they passed, but I didn't know how. This was only discovered later, with genetics. Today we know it's all information, like an instruction manual within each cell. And from time to time, this manual suffers a typing mistake, a mutation. Most of these mistakes make no difference. Some are bad, but once or another, something genius arises. Like the fool Sapo. This guy is so identical to a dry leaf that you can step on it without realizing it. Camouflage is perfect. This didn't happen at once. It was millions of years of small changes. Each generation a little more like sheet than the previous one. And the predators. They ate the frogs that were not well camouflaged. Natural selection in the vein. Only survived who was invisible. There are frog that went to the other extreme. Instead of hiding, he shouts that he is there. Super flashy colors, yellow, red, electric blue. Why? Because he is poisonous, and the colors are a warning. Don't eat me, that you will regret it, and it works. Predators learn fast that colorful frog, belly pain, or death. So these frogs can be good without hiding. But here comes the plot twist. There is a frog that is not poisonous, but it has the same colors as they are. It's the famous, if you can't beat them, join them. He deceives everyone pretending to be dangerous. Darwin was crazy about these things, because it shows how creative evolution is. There is no unique solution for survival. Each species finds its way, and the frogs are masters in this. There are frog that releases the skin when attacked, like the lizard that releases the tail. There are frog that inflates like a balloon to look bigger. There are frog that pretends to be dead. Man, there is a frog that literally breaks their own bones to use as claws. When you feel threatened, crack, stuck the bones out of the skin. It's the Wolverine of amphibians. And all can be explained by Darwin's theory, variation, selection, heredity. Simple as that, but at the same time, complex for hell. Because you think to me, how many attempts did you go wrong until you get to Sapo Wolverine? How many died until one with poison? How many were eaten until the perfect camouflage developed? Million, billions. Evolution is a brutal process, but it's also beautiful because it shows how life always finds a way, and it's not just physical adaptation. Behavior also evolves. There are frog that carries the tads on the back. There are frog who builds foam nests. There's a male frog that keeps the eggs in the mouth. Every behavior of these arose because it increased the chances of puppies to survive. And those who took better care of the puppies spent more genes ahead. It's pure math. If you have 100 puppies but 99 die, you pass fewer genes than the guy who has 10 puppies but all survive. And Darwin realized this by watching. No calculator, no computer, nothing. The guy was a monster. Now let me tell you about the most bizarre frog there is, the kite. This guy is so strange that it seems that evolution was drunk when he created him. First, he is flattering like a pancake. He lives in the bottom of the rivers, camouflaged in the mud. But the bizarre is how it reproduces itself. The female carries the eggs on the back, but not above, inside the skin. The eggs develop in small cameras on her skin, and after a few months, the frogs come out of their mother's back. It's like the Alien movie, but amphibious version. Darwin would explain this easy. In their environment, leave loose eggs in the water, free food for predators. But carry on the back, guaranteed protection. And look how interesting. The more we study, the more we confirm what Darwin said. DNA, fossils, embryology, everything hits his theory. Did you even know that all vertebrates, including you, have a phase in life that looks like fish? In the womb, we even have gill slits. It's evolution leaving your fingerprints. The frogs are even more obvious. The tidy is a fish, with tail, gills, fins. Then he literally turns into an earthly animal. It is metamorphosis, but it is also a journey in evolutionary time. And that leads me to a reflection. If the frogs have evolved from fish, and we also evolved from fish, does that make us cousins distant from frogs? Technically, yes. Very, very distant. But we share a common ancestor back there. So we have similar structures. 4 limbs, spine, 2 eyes. Darwin was the first to realize that all life on Earth is a great family, and the frogs are our jumper amphibian cousins. But calm down, that madness doesn't stop there. There are frog that flies. It's not real flight, but it has membranes between fingers that work as parachute. He jumps from tree to gliding tree. Why did this evolve? Because in the forest, who is on the floor becomes food. But who can move through the trees? Survive. And it wasn't a frog that decided, I'm going to create wings. It was attempt and error for millions of years. Each millimeter of extra membrane was an advantage. There is also the vidro frog. This guy is transparent. You can see his organs, the heart beating, the blood circulating. It is the camouflage taken to the extreme. And why transparent? Because he lives in leaves, and the light passing through his body makes him virtually disappear. Predator, none think. Darwin would say, element, my dear Watson. Oops, this is another guy. But Darwin would say it's just another example of how natural selection shapes organisms. And do you know what is most impressive? Each of these crazy adaptations came independently in different places. This is what we call convergent evolution. Like, it has poisonous frogs in South America and Africa. They are not close relatives but have developed the same strategy. Why? Because it works. It's as if the evolution had a solution manual, and different species came to the same answers to similar problems. Now, I'll tell you about an adaptation that will explode your mind. There is a frog that breathes through the skin, not only for the nostrils, all over the skin. This is so efficient that some don't even have lungs. Why is lung if the whole skin works like one? But it has a price. The skin must always be moist. So dry frog, dead frog, it is the price of adaptation. And this leads us to an important question. Every adaptation has pros and cons. There is no perfection in nature. It's always a commitment. Sapo Boy is giant and strong, but it is also slow and easy to find. The frog is agile and fast, but also small and fragile, each with its advantages and disadvantages. And that is exactly what Darwin found out. There is no better in evolution. There is better adapted to the specific environment. A desert frog would die in the Amazon. A frog of the Amazon would become a mummy in the desert. Each one is perfect for its place. And that, my friends, is the beauty of evolution. Diversity, creativity, the ability of life to occupy any corner of the planet. From frozen poles to scorching deserts, from deep oceans to the highest mountains, it has life everywhere. And each life form is a work of evolutionary art. Frogs are just an example among millions, but they are a perfect example because they show evolution in action clearly. And the coolest? We can see this in our backyard. That, frog in your window is an evolutionary miracle. Millions of years of adaptation there, coaxing to girlfriend. Darwin taught us to see nature with other eyes, not as something static, but as something constantly changing, alive, dynamic. And the frogs are living proof of this. Each species, each individual, is a chapter of the history of life on Earth. A story that started billions of years ago and is still written now. With each birth, each mutation, each adaptation. And you are part of this story. Your genes carry billions of years of evolution. You are the result of countless generations that survived and reproduced. Just like the frogs. The difference is that they jump and coax, and we make videos on YouTube about them. Which shows another incredible thing. Evolution has created brains capable of understanding its own evolution. We are nature understanding itself. Darwin began this revolution in thought. He has shown us that we are not separated from nature. We are part of it. And when you understand that, when you really understand, you never see the world the same way. Each living being becomes special. Each frog in the marsh, every bird in the sky, every insect on the floor, all are survivors. All are winners in the lottery of life, and that should give us humility. We are not the owners of nature. We are just another species trying to survive, but with the extra responsibility of understanding our impact. Because unlike frogs, we know that our actions affect other species, and with knowledge comes responsibility. Many species of frogs are disappearing. Climate change, pollution, habitat destruction. Evolution cannot keep up with the speed of the changes we cause. It is ironic. The species that discovered evolution may be causing one of the greatest extinctions in history. But we also have the power to change that, to protect, to preserve, to give time to evolution to do your magic. Each frog that disappears is millions of years of evolution lost forever, a unique solution of nature that will never exist again. This is why it is so important to understand evolution. It's not just abstract theory. It's understanding our place in the world and our responsibility to it. Darwin gave us this tool, the knowledge. Now it's up to us to use it with wisdom. And look, I could stay here talking about frogs and evolution forever. Every detail is fascinating. Each adaptation is an amazing story. But the important thing is that you left here with a new perspective. That the next time a frog comes, you will remember all this. It will remember the millions of years, of the countless generations, of incredible adaptations, of the creativity of nature, Darwin's genius, and you will feel that connection, that perception that everything is interconnected, that we are part of something much bigger. This is what science does for the best, shows us the beauty hidden in everyday life, transforms the common one into extraordinary. And the frogs? Well, they will keep jumping, coaxing, eating insects, doing what they do millions of years ago. But now you know the story behind it. You understand why. And that makes all the difference. So the next time he hears a frog coxanding at night, remember, you're hearing the sound of evolution, a serenade that has been improved for millions of years. And now I have a question for you, and I want to see the answers in the comments. Considering everything you have learned today, do you think the frogs are still evolving? And most importantly, where do you think evolution will take them in the future? Will we have real flying frogs in millions of years? Smart frogs? Comment down your craziest theory. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this trip for evolution as much as I do. If this video made you look to the frogs and to nature in a different way, then my work here is done. We see each other in the next video where we will explode more minds with more science. Until then, remain curious, keep questioning, and keep evolving.